If it's Thursday night, say yeah, for it is the season premiere of Strictly Sports. Hello, friends, and welcome to the season premiere of Strictly Sports. I am your host, Anthony Florio. Blessed and honored to be joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. I don't know about Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him tomorrow night for a huge cerebral smack talk. But we have to start this show this evening, unfortunately, with some major hard times, and this is one that has, rocked the sports world, and not in a good way. Major League Baseball, the sign stealing scandal by the Houston Astros, stemming from members of the Houston Astros organization illegally stealing signs of opposing teams using technology during the 2017 and 2018 seasons. The story was originally reported by journalists Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellich for The Athletic back in November. Mike Fiers, a pitcher who played for the Astros in 2017, told The Athletic that the Astros used the video camera in center field to steal opposing teams' signs. MLB opened an investigation into the allegations and just recently confirmed that the Astros illegally used the camera system to steal signs during the 2017 regular season and postseason, during which they won the World Series, as well as in part of the 2018 season. MLB found no evidence of illicit sign stealing in the 2019 season, in which the Astros once again advanced to the World Series. As a result, the Astros were fined $5 million and forfeited their first and second round picks in the 2020 and 2021 drafts. General manager Jeff Luhnow and manager AJ Hinch were suspended for the entire season for failing to prevent the rules violations. The Astros subsequently fired both Luhnow and Hinch on the day their suspensions were announced. MLB's investigation also determined that Boston Red Sox manager Alex Cora helped mastermind the Astros sign stealing while serving as Hinch's bench coach in 2017. Cora was subsequently dismissed by Boston the following day. Carlos Beltran, who had been hired to manage the New York Mets in November and was the only player from 2017 who was specifically named in the report, was also dismissed by the Mets the same week. The sanctions were the most severe that MLB has ever issued against a member club and are among the most severe sanctions for in-game misconduct in baseball history. And I'll tell you what, while the investigation was ongoing, Molly Knight of The Athletic identified and attempted to contact 9 pitchers who were demoted to the minors or designated for assignment immediately after a poor appearance against the Astros in 2017. 4 pitchers agreed to be quoted anonymously. 3 put the blame for their fates on their own performance, and a 4th saw the allegations as an explanation for why Astros players seemed to be more comfortable at the plate at home. The other 5 pitchers either could not be reached or declined to comment. Reaction from current and former players around the league to the report was mixed, with some players expressing disdain towards the Astros and others expressing ambivalence. Jessica Mendoza, an advisor to the New York Mets and Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN commentator, criticized Fiers for going public with his allegations. After being criticized herself for going after Fiers, Mendoza backtracked and said that she wished Fiers had made his allegations privately with MLB. ESPN's Buster Olney reported that some Astros players had reached out to other players to assure them that they did not cheat, but that some of those friendships were fractured and there was lots of anger towards Astros players after the release of the report. Pitcher Mike Clevenger said the Astros should be ashamed, and I don't think any of those bleeps should be able to look us in the eye. Hang on 1 second. Okay. Yep. On the other hand, retired pitcher and Hall of Famer Pedro Martinez was critical of Mike Fiers for exposing the scheme after he had left the Astros, saying whatever happens in the clubhouse stays in the clubhouse, and Fiers broke the rules. The Dodgers were the only team to release a statement the week the report was released, only to say that they had been ordered by MLB not to comment on the punishments or any wrongdoing during the 2017 World Series. According to ESPN's Jeff Passan, a number of executives at other MLB clubs were unhappy that no players were punished. According to Passan, several executives made their dissatisfaction known. In a conference call at which Commissioner Manfred spelled out the sanctions, one team president told Passan that he believed the scandal was handled in a manner programmed to protect the future of the Astros franchise. Jose Reddick was the first Astros player made available to speak to the media after the report, and he told reporters it stinks for everybody involved, and when everyone feels the time is right, it will get taken care of. Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve appeared before the media at the Astros annual fan festival in Houston the week the report was released. Bregman answered repeated attempts by reporters to have him address the scandal with variations of the same phrase. The commissioner made his report, made his decision, and the Astros made their decision, and I have no further comment on it. Altuve was more talkative, but said it was too early to comment, saying, I think the time to comment about that will come, while vowing that the Astros would return to the World Series. ESPN conducted a survey of 1,010 adults, including 810 MLB fans, asking about the scandal last week. 58% of adults said Astros players should have been penalized, and 72% of adults said they would support additional steps by MLB to punish players involved in sign stealing. 61% of MLB fans said they were closely following the scandal, and 86% of MLB fans said the situation was serious, including 57% who said it was very serious. 49% of adults said the steroid scandal was more serious than the sign stealing scandal, but 44% said the sign stealing scandal was worse than Pete Rose gambling on his own team. 74% of adults and 76% of MLB fans said they believe most teams were using technology to steal signs, but only the Astros and Red Sox were caught. 54% of adults said their views of MLB were unchanged by the scandal, and 60% of adults said the scandals made no difference in their likelihood to watch MLB games. U.S. Representative Bobby Rush from Illinois released a letter calling on the chairman of the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Reform to open a congressional investigation into the scandal along with MLB's response. The report and discipline did not stop additional accusations of sign stealing from being made. The release of the report sparked a new frenzy of speculation and rumors on the internet the week the report was released. A Twitter account of a person claiming to be Beltran's niece made accusations about non-Astros players around the league. Beltran's family said the account was fake, and some speculated that it actually belonged to a player. Rumors also circulated that Astros players were wearing buzzing electronic devices during this past year's playoffs that would relay a stolen sign through vibrations. Altuve released a statement through his agent stating, I have never worn an electronic device in my performance as a major league player. A few days later in a media appearance, Altuve said some people made that up. The best thing that happened to me was that MLB investigated it and found nothing. Reddit called internet speculation that he was wearing a buzzing device ridiculous, and Bregman called the buzzer rumors stupid. Well, there's nothing really left to say on that. I mean, it was everybody. You made your bed, you lie in it. And as a Yankee fan, I got to be honest. For the last few years, I've been really looking for a reason to hate this team, other than the fact that they have owned us. And well, now I've lost all respect for the Houston Astros, and I am hopeful that they will get theirs. And well, Commissioner Manfred hit them where they lived, which was good. But I'm hoping that when the new season starts, let me tell you, boys, it's open season. Everybody's going to be gunning for you, including my Yankees. And I'll tell you what, man. I mean, it's one of the worst things. It's one of the saddest days in the history of the sport. I mean, I honestly thought that once the whole steroid thing was, finally resolved, I thought there was nothing wrong. I thought we were never going to have another situation like this again. But as a fan of the game, I can honestly say I feel betrayed. I really do. I feel betrayed. I honest to goodness cannot believe that a team with so much talent, one of the most dangerous and explosive teams in the game today, and to know that they basically pulled the New England Patriots, for goodness sakes. I mean, it's not fair. It's really not fair. And I applaud Commissioner Manfred for the penalties that he sanctioned. I could not agree more. I mean, for me, their World Series championship in 2017 should come with an asterisk. It really should. I mean, thankfully they didn't win it this year. I mean, Washington won that, and I'm glad that they did. And all I know is I just can't wait until the new season starts in a couple of months, and I can't wait until the Yanks get their turn. Oh yeah, we're coming for you, boys. That's all there is to say. But then again, you've got all the other teams in the American League and those you face in interleague gunning for you as well. And you know they're gonna be gunning for you in a big time way. So I really don't know what else there is for me to say on this, except I feel betrayed as a fan of the game. I really do. So MF, just take it. I mean, there are no words. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There are no words, to say the very least. Betrayal of trust. It was but you were in baseball. This was not. It was shock. I think, and we heard the initial thoughts of it, or when we were like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see how it plays out. And we'll go from there. We'll react accordingly to it. But then once you start hearing more of the stories and how it went down and what might have led to what, it really was at that point, you're just like, oh my God. It really was a shocking turn of events, and a lot of fans were really upset, and rightfully so. I know a lot of Yankee fans are upset because they felt like, wait a minute, we just got burned, and this was our moment. We could have won. What if this? Were they cheating during the ALCS? Could that have been a reason why we lost the World Series? Now you got all these other things going on, and you just don't know. You don't know. So I mean, the Dodgers were saying the same thing. The Red Sox were saying the same thing. Even though it looks like the Red Sox might be implicated now, but we're not going to get into that tonight. So we got that going on. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of people were very upset about what happened with what was going on. So, yeah, honestly, I don't think there's any doubt there's anything that we would say. Look, they made their bed, they got to lie in it. And I agree with what Anthony said up to that point, is that, I got to give credit where credit due to Rob Manfred and MLB. They did what they had to do. Letter of the law, they punished them to the fullest extent, which was the right thing to do, because the punishment that they deserved to be punished with what they got. I was a little surprised that they didn't go after the players for it. I think I think for the players to be punished down the line, we'll go from there. But as far as anything else goes, no, I totally agree with what you just said. I think leading into the playoffs, going into the rest of the season, we'll see. But at the end of the day, we'll just go from there. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So, Anthony, I'll give it to you.
Now we can move on to something much more positive, and it doesn't get any more positive than the announcement of the 2020 Baseball Hall of Fame inductees. And to the surprise of no one, Derek Jeter going into the into the Baseball Hall of Fame of 2020, but he's not alone. He's also joined by Larry Walker. Larry Walker, he will be taking his place in Cooperstown, and that induction ceremony will go down on Sunday afternoon, July the 26th of this year. That's about 6 months or so from now. So I know there are some veteran, senior committee folks that are in there. Well, I'll try to get the full list in just a moment. But for right now, MF, Derek Jeter, Larry Walker. Larry Walker, last year on the ballot, he only had 54% last year, and he all of a sudden, out of nowhere, skyrocketed all the way up to the 75 required to get in. And that's the case for Derek Jeter. 99.7%, one vote shy of unanimous selection. Why was it not unanimous?
Yeah, somebody held out.
Should have been.
I'm wondering who it was. And there's talk that it might have been a Boston Red Sox writer, that it was a Red Sox writer. Last year, he made it very known that he was not going to vote for Mariano Rivera. And after a whole bunch of pressure from not only other baseball writers, but even the media and fans alike, he turned around, gave his vote to Rivera, and that was the 100%, and that got him the only unanimous vote in the history of the game. And I'll bet you anything, it was that very same writer. I don't know who it is, but I know he's from Boston. He probably said no to Derek Jeter. He's probably the one. I'm not, in a way, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised, because of the fact that there's certain bias in sports. You are geared to hate a certain team. You don't care who it is or what it's about. When it's Red Sox and Yankees, it doesn't matter if you're a newbie or a Hall of Famer. That was not going to happen. And unfortunately for Derek Jeter, he deserves to be a unanimous vote, but that's the way it's going to happen. I would not be shocked that when David Ortiz's name comes up, that we hear that at least a couple of Yankee voters will not vote for David Ortiz. He will not go in. If he goes in on the first ballot, it will not be a unanimous vote either. At least 2 or 3 will hold out on I would think at least 3 or 4 will probably hold out, not vote for Ortiz, which is going to be one of those, oh, you didn't remember when you didn't vote for Jeter? Now Poppy's not going to get it. That's just going to add a little more fire to the rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox. So, no, there's really nothing more to say about that. That's kind of more or less what's been going on. Derek Jeter deserves to go in. We knew he was going to go in, so that was the thing on that. But for Larry Walker, this was his 10th and final year to go into the Hall of Fame on the writers. If he didn't go in, then he goes into the veterans, the senior committee, and good luck if he tries to get in on that. So he deserves to be in there. I'm so glad he got in there. This guy was a lifelong guy who played for the Colorado Rockies, made a big name for himself way back when. Then he went into certain other teams, went to St. Louis in his final years. But, he was a Rocky through and through. He made him a contender for a number of years when he was starting out in his career. Also was a great player was also a great player as a member of the Montreal Expos when they were around back in the day. So, he really had a good career, and I really got nothing bad to say. Both men are deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, but the one thing that's very telling, Anthony, and I know we're going to get into this, but Curt Schilling got 70%. He is razor thin on getting into the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens Both got 60%. And I think this was their 8th year of eligibility. Next year will be number 9. They actually have a legit shot at making the Hall of Fame. I know this is the steroid era. I know there's about the steroid use, and there's a lot of people that feels like they do not deserve to be in. But when you got 60% in your 8th year, Anthony, and let me tell you, next year's Hall of Fame class is not strong at all. As a matter of fact, it's one of the weaker Hall of Fame first timers going in. Maybe Mark Burley might have a shot, but all the others are not good at all. It won't be until 2 years from now is when you get some big names like a David Ortiz, where he's eligible for Hall of Fame. So I believe Schilling might get in next year, but I do believe Clemens and Bonds have a legit shot of getting in. And if they get in, well, now you want to talk about a game changer, because now you're going to start going into the steroid era. You got 2 of the biggest poster childs of that era, possibly going into the Hall of Fame. You want to talk about that black eye? What do you do at that point? I mean, it's all yours, Florio.
Now, MF, I want to ask something here when it comes to the voting for the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
75%. Don't you think that's a little too steep? I think it is.
Because of the fact that you get to write 10 names on a ballot, and it's 397 voters, that means you need 2/3 majority. I actually don't mind it. I think 75% is more than fair enough. I don't see why, back in the day, I was the same way, saying no way, no way, no way. You should drop the number down to like 70. But I understand why they're doing it. And plus, now that you can vote for as many as 10 players for your ballot. I mean, there's an opening there, Florio. So I don't know. Okay. It's kind of a tough call.
Fair enough. If it was me, I would make it, like teachers do for tests. I mean, the lowest passing grade you could get without failing would be 70. I think it should be 70 myself. That's a little more reasonable. But 75, that's still a little steep in my book. But nonetheless, 4 new inductees. Of course, Derek Jeter and Larry Walker. The committee also elected former player Ted Simmons and former executive Marvin Miller. And there's also the J.G. Taylor Spink Award, which goes to a sports writer for meritorious contributions to baseball writing, and the winner of that was Nick Cafardo from the Boston Globe. He will be going in with the J.G. Taylor Spink Award, and there's also the Ford C. Frick Award, presented annually to a preeminent broadcaster since 1978. According to the Hall, the new criteria for selection are commitment to excellence, quality of broadcasting abilities, reverence within the game, popularity with fans, and recognition by peers. And going in this year, a gentleman that gave us one of the most iconic phrases in the history of baseball. And you can put it on the board. Yes. Ken Harrelson. He will be awarded the Ford C. Frick Award. And they will also be presenting the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award. And I don't know who will be going in for this year when it comes to that award, but But Ken Harrelson will be awarded the Ford C. Frick Award. Nick Cafardo from the Boston Globe will get the J.G. Taylor Spink Award. Marvin Miller and Ted Simmons will be going in from the Modern Baseball Era Committee, and the baseball writers obviously voting for Derek Jeter and Larry Walker. I'll try to get as best as I can with this. Marvin Miller was an executive. He was the executive director of the Players Association from 1966 to 1982. Under his direction, the Players Union was transformed into one of the strongest unions in the U.S. In 1992, Red Barber said Marvin Miller, along with Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson, is one of the 2 or 3 most important men in baseball history. Miller was selected to the Hall of Fame to be inducted this year. In 2000, Hank Aaron endorsed Miller's selection to the Hall of Fame, saying Marvin Miller should be in the Hall of Fame if the players have to break down the doors to get him in. Tom Seaver said Marvin's exclusion from the Hall of Fame is a national disgrace. Joe Morgan said they should vote him in and then apologize for making him wait so long. And broadcaster Bob Costas observed there is no non-player more deserving of the Hall of Fame. And he finally gets in this time around. And they created the Marvin Miller Man of the Year Award as at one of his Players' Choice Awards. He was honored by the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame Museum in 2000. Inducted into the Baseball Reliquary Shrine of the Internals in 2003. And April 26th of 2009, inducted into the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. And, I don't know much about it because he was long before I was born, or MF was born, but nonetheless, well-deserved. That's all I can say on that. So he goes in. He got the 75%. Ted Simmons, former ball player. He played for 20 years. He played for 3 different teams. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals from 1968 to 1980. He played for the Milwaukee Brewers from 1981 to 1985, and with the Atlanta Braves from 1986 to 1988. Retired with a career batting average of .285, 2,472 hits, 248 home runs, and 1,389 RBI. He was an 8-time All-Star from 72 to 74, 77 to 79, 81 and 83. 1980, he won the Silver Slugger Award and also inducted into the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame. 81.3%. That's what he got. And I don't know much about him because he was another one of those old players, but he hit 300. He hit 300 or more 7 times. He caught 2 no-hitters. And one was Bob Gibson in 1971 and the first of Bob Forsch's 2 career no-hitters in 78. And he led the National League twice in intentional walks from 76 to 77 and ranked 15th in the all-time list with 188. But as a player, after his playing days, he was hired as general manager of the Pirates in 1992. He was there for only a year, retiring after suffering a heart attack in June of 93. Spring training of 92, he agreed to trade Barry Bonds to Atlanta, but backed out when Pirates manager Jim Leyland threatened to quit. Wow, MF. I mean, could you imagine if Barry Bonds had been in an Atlanta Braves uniform? Oh, goodness gracious. You probably would have dominated the 90s. No doubt about it. You probably would have won like 4 or 5 World Series instead of the only one you won. He was also the director of player development for the Cardinals and the Padres. He was a scout at the major league level for the Indians. He was the bench coach of the Brewers in 2008. And then September of that year was reassigned to another position within Milwaukee. And then in November, he was the bench coach for San Diego under then manager Bud Black, and was hired on November the 5th of 2010 as a senior advisor to the general manager of the Mariners, Jack Zduriencik. And then he came back to Atlanta in October of 2015 as a scout. So congratulations to Mr. Simmons. I mean, boy, howdy, if it wasn't for Jim Leyland, Barry Bonds would have been an Atlanta Brave. And oh my goodness, oh my gosh. Bonds in that lineup. Oh my God. Oh, good grief. With all those guys, the Yankees never would have won those World Series in 96 and 99.
The Braves would have been the team of the decade and definitely the team of the 90s, as many people had dubbed them in the early years.
Absolutely. I mean, did you know that, MF? Did you know Barry Bonds almost wasn't a Atlanta Brave?
No, that's why I was a little shocked when I heard that. I didn't want to jump in because I needed it to process that for a moment.
Ted Simmons, spring training of '92, he agreed to trade him, but it was Jimmy Leland who put the kibosh on it.
Well, good for him, you know.
I mean, could you imagine quickly though, MF? Could you imagine Bonds in that lineup with Justice and McGriff and Gant and Pendleton? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it would, and with the pitching that the Braves had, especially in like the early like 92, you had Glavine, you had Smoltz, you had Avery.
Maddox didn't get there until 93.
Maddox wasn't until 93. So I mean, imagine that. Wow, man. So
that would have been
I
mean, could you imagine? I mean, if that had all gone down, think of all the World Series they would have won.
Yeah,
they would have won a ton.
It's possible.
You wouldn't be at just the one. You would have had at least 4, maybe 5, maybe even more.
God forbid. Yeah.
But as our old friend Derek Ferreira, you know, this goes into our what if files. What if Barry Bonds had become an Atlanta Brave? But we'll never know. But getting back to this, Larry Walker, 76.6% of the vote. Wow. He played from 1989 to 2005, retired with a career average of 313, 2,160 hits, 383 home runs, 1,311 RBI. Played for 3 different teams: the Montreal Expos from 1989 to 1994, the Colorado Rockies from 1995 to 2004, and then the St. Louis Cardinals from 2004 to 2005. 5-time All-Star, 92, and then from 97 to 99 in 2001. 1997 National League MVP, 7-time Gold Glove Award winner, won 3 Silver Slugger Awards, was a batting champion 3 times, and led the National League in home runs in 1997. He won 2 gold medals in the Pan American Games with Guadalajara in 2011 and Toronto in 2015. I didn't know much about him in Montreal, but I do know I knew everything he did from Colorado. And that 1997 season, oh man, he was a stud. Let me tell you, 366, 49 homers, 130 RBI, and then his former manager Clint Hurdle once said, one of the most amazing things I've seen Larry accomplish was during those 2 seasons after 97, when hurt as he was, he hit for a high average, had to take daily inventory of what was going good and come up with a stroke that would work within the parameters of his health. It was never dramatic. A layman's eye would never notice, but he'd raise his hands on the bat or open his stance just to have a stroke that was pain-free. It was different every night for 2 years. And I'll never forget, when he was in the All-Star game in 99 at Fenway Park. And, Colorado, that's really where he became a household name. But then in 2004, speaking of super teams, how about the super team the Cardinals had in 2004? When he had Larry Walker in a lineup that also had Jim Edmonds, Albert Pujols, and Scott Rowland. They made it all the way to the World Series, but yet they lost to Bullock's Red Sox in 2004, the curse. And then he was in his final year was 2005. They made it to the postseason again, but they lost in the NLCS to Houston, and that's when he called it a career. But man, he was so fun to watch. One of the best hitters of all time, and I'm glad that he's getting his moment, and well deserved. Final year on the ballot, man, that's awesome. And last but not least, my man Derek Jeter. I mean, Derek Sanderson Jeter. What else is there to say? 1995 to 2014, played his entire career with the New York Yankees, retired with a career average of 310, 3,465 hits, 260 home runs, 1,311 RBI. He played for the Yankees his entire career, a 14-time All-Star, 5 World Series championships, MVP of the 2000 World Series, Rookie of the Year in 1996, 5-time Gold Glove Award winner, 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner, won the Hank Aaron Award twice in 2006 and 2009. 2009 winner of the Roberto Clemente Award, was the captain of the Yankees from 2003 to 2014. His number 2 was retired, and he's also enshrined in Monument Park at Yankee Stadium. 99.7% of the votes. How it was not unanimous is beyond me, but it is what it is. But I could tell you stories on days about Derek Jeter's career. I mean, 1996, when he hit the questionable home run in Game 1 of the ALCS against the Orioles, off of Armando Benitez, the Jeffrey Mayer incident. I mean, that really was what catapulted him right there. And then from there, he became, he just became so fun to watch. I mean, so many memorable moments. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, how about Game 3 of the ALDS in 2001 against Oakland? Yankees down 2-0. And Terrence Long hits the ball down the line, and then Derek Jeter, with one of the greatest plays and one of the most iconic plays in baseball history, with that little flip there to get the out. I mean, he doesn't make that play, Oakland wins that series. There would not have been a World Series for the appearance for the Yanks in 01. That never would have happened. Oakland would have forget about it. But excuse me, but part of the greatest Yankee team of all time and the greatest team in baseball history, the 1998 Yankees, 114 wins. To me, that's the record right there. And then they won 125 overall when they won the World Series. And, just had that pure swing, not just that 01 moment there. Later, and then when the Yankees got to the World Series in 01, when the night he became Mr. November, Game 4 of the 2001 World Series, the home run off of Byung-Hyun Kim to win that game for the Yanks, and that was another iconic moment right there. I could go on and on and on and on, and then of course, who will ever forget his final game, his final at bat at Yankee Stadium in 2014. And he walked off with a game-winning hit to beat the Orioles. Unreal. I mean, there was not a dry eye. That was a special moment. And then I can't forget about 2011, July of 2011, when he recorded his 3,000th career hit when he hit the home run off of David Price. And when I look at him, one word comes to mind. Ambassador. That's what he is to me. He is an ambassador of the game. He did it the right way. There was never any drama with him. He was just a class act, and he made me proud to be a Yankee fan. I mean, the heart and soul of that team. I mean, his work ethic, his leadership, and the whole 9 yards. That's why the Yanks, had that dynasty in the late 90s and into the 2000s, winning those 5 titles in 96, and then the three-peat from 98 to 2000, and then winning it all in 2009. And, many say he's the greatest Yankee of all time. I mean, I could certainly make an argument for that. all those great teams, Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettit, under the guidance of Joe Torre. I mean, and George Steinbrenner. I mean, man, those teams were fun to watch, and he was one of the main reasons why. So he's now in the front office role with the Marlins. I mean, I know it hasn't gone the way he would have liked, but it is what it is. But nonetheless, congratulations to Derek Jeter, well deserved. And we had other things we need to get into, so maybe some other day. Maybe I'll tell you all the stories about Derek Jeter that.
Well, we might be doing that in July when we officially see Derek Jeter inducted into the Hall of Fame. Then you might be able to do your stories. But Anthony, I want to sit on a story here. We might have a blockbuster trade possibly on the pipeline. You don't have to react, but this was being discussed with the Red Sox and the Padres. And listen to this. There has been discussion of a possible trade that will send Mookie Betts to the San Diego Padres for Will Smith. There's some other stuff that might be in the works, but the biggest sticking point is that the Sox would want the Padres to take Mookie's contract and maybe eat some of Will Myers' contract as well. So it looks like there's some framework going on. This is being reported by Dennis Lin of The Athletic. Nothing confirmed as of yet, but maybe a trade is being in the works between the Padres and the Red Sox.
Well, that would be huge for San Diego.
Oh yeah,
Mookie Betts, former American League MVP. I mean,
and to pair him up with Manny Machado.
Ooh.
Oh my God!
And Eric Hosmer.
Hosmer too. There, yeah. So you might have yourself a big three in San Diego. If this works, if they can get the numbers right and get the prospects and the guys down, I'm gonna keep a close eye on this. This is being reported as of right now.
Okay. And speaking of hot stove, the biggest hot stove signing so far, Garrett Cole. Last month, back on December the 16th, Garrett Cole signing a 9-year, $324 million contract with the New York Yankees. Largest signed by a pitcher, topping the $245 million 7-year deal signed by Steven Strasburg. Cole's contract has an average annual value of $36 million, which also represents the highest average annual value of any player contract in baseball, eclipsing the previous average annual value record set by Mike Trout at an average annual value of $35.5 million. The contract also allows Cole to opt out and become a free agent again after the 5th year. However, if he attempts to do so, the Yankees can choose to prevent him from doing so by adding an additional year and $36 million to his contract, which would bring the total length and value of the contract to 10 years and $360 million. Yankee fans rejoicing. I'm rejoicing. Derek Ferreira is rejoicing. I have some family who also happen to be Yankee fans, especially my grand cousin Ronnie. I mean, lifelong Yankee fan. I mean, we had a family gathering last month, a very special family gathering, couple of special gatherings, and I looked right at him and I said, "How about Garrett Cole? Huh? What do you think of that?" And he looked at me and he only said one word: beautiful. That's all he said. And he's very happy. I can tell he was very happy about the signing, and I can't blame him. I mean, I am too. I mean, we've been looking for that ace for so long. I mean, excuse me. I mean, we had CC Sabathia, who's now in a front office role. And I mean, especially after what he did this past season, going 20-5, a 2.5 ERA, 326 strikeouts, Cy Young Award. Well, he was second. I mean, Justin Verlander was the winner, but I mean, he's a 3-time All-Star, All MLB first team, and this past year led the league in ERA and strikeouts. 94-52 career record, 322 career ERA, 1,336 strikeouts. He debuted in 2013 with Pittsburgh, played with them from 2013 to 2017, and then the last 2 years he was with Houston, but now he's in New York, and he actually attended the 2001 World Series, held a sign that said Yankee fan today, tomorrow, forever. And a photograph went viral with Newsday this year when news of his signing with the Yanks was reported. And he brought the sign to his introductory press conference. Just amazing. And, you know, he's a power pitcher who features a 4-seam and 2-seam fastball that he regularly throws between 94 to 98 miles an hour, but has clocked as high as 102 miles an hour in college. Also throws a slider, knuckle curve, and a changeup. 2017 and 18, due to his increased spin rate and a more complete arm deceleration and follow through, his fastball got a lower whip and has used his sinker less often, no longer pitching to contact. He's like the Pedro Martinez. He throws from a low 3/4 position. And in the division series this past year, his strikeout pitches were high fastballs, sliders, and knuckle curves that are down and away from right-handed batters. So I can't wait to see that within the Yankee uniforms. So welcome aboard, Garrett Cole. You're gonna be our guy. You're gonna be our number one, and I cannot wait to see him. You know, I'm hopeful that he will do the same thing that he's done in the last couple of years with Houston. I hope he can bring that to New York, especially when they go up against Houston. I hope he gets a shot at them. I really do. So because we all know how ugly that ended after the World Series loss. We know the story. So nothing really more to say on this, except I'm a happy man. So, and I know Derek Ferreira is as well. So could he be the piece to get the Yanks back to the promised land after 11 years? We'll see. So nothing more to say. MF. I brought a little bit of my Tim McCarver to the soiree here this evening. So as the Joe Buck, I mean, what do you make of Garrett Cole now being the guy in New York?
Well, you know, this was a big free agent signing. This was the one thing that I think a lot of Yankee fans were hoping for. What was the one thing that prevented the Yankees from winning the World Series last year, other than the injuries? The starting pitching. The pitching was the weakness. The starting pitching was the reason why you guys didn't get where you guys were at the end. So for them, this was the right thing to do. This was the right decision to get, and it worked. So with Garrett Cole, like you say, he's young. He's literally in the prime of his career, and he's literally one of the best in the game. Is now, what do you do? How does that set up for the remainder of the season? I guess we'll go from there. But as far as the rest of it goes, it's going to be very interesting to see. So, no, I think you got yourself a major superstar. This is what the Yankees was desperately needed. So, I got really nothing more to say. Just that's a big signing for the Yanks, and definitely would make them. If they're not, I think now they definitely are the contenders for the World Series because of what they did a year ago. But you never know. Injuries could creep up. Something bad could happen, because I think that's what's derailed the Yankees the last couple of years, is that they got the talent, they got the players, but they just can't stay healthy for heaven's sake. If they could stay healthy throughout the season, then we're talking about the Yankees as a World Series contender. Other than that, you never know. Florio, it's yours.
And the other big hot stove signing, Anthony Rendon formerly of the World Series champion Washington Nationals. He left because Nationals owner Mark Lerner indicated that the team would not be able to afford to sign both he and Steven Strasburg. But on December 11th, Rendon agreed to a 7-year, $245 million deal with the LA Angels 2 days after the Nationals re-signed Strasburg to a similar deal, formally introduced as an Angel on December 14th. His 6.7 wins above replacement in 2019 ranks only behind Mike Trout's 8.4 wins above replacement and above all Angels players from 2012 to 2019. He was a National from 2013 to 19, won a World Series, was on the first team, was an All-Star. He's won 2 Silver Slugger Awards, was the Comeback Player of the Year in the NL in 2016, led the MLB in RBI in 2019, won the Dick Howser Trophy in 2010. A magical year for Rendon, 126 RBI, 34 homers, and now he's going to the LA Angels. So MF, Rendon. Well, that's one less annoying player you got to deal with as an Atlanta Brave. Now one less big name.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anthony Rendon, what a major coup for them. That's the benefit of winning a World Series and being one of the big players for your team to win that World Series. When you do that, a lot of teams want to come after you, and I think at the end of the day, they amazingly did incredible. So no, there was nothing more to say. So, yeah, I gotta say that Anthony Rendon did an incredible job. There's really nothing more to say. Great signing for him, and I think that's the key word. Just a great signing. So, just what they needed. Nothing more to say. And yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
I agree. That's a big signing for the Angels. I mean, that might get them out of the basement right now. I mean, that definitely helps them out. I mean, you still got Pujols and all those guys over there. You got Pujols and Trout, and now with Rendon, I mean, there's a big 3 right there. I mean, that'll definitely get the Angels up into contention a little bit. Will it put them over the top? We'll see. But it is but he's one of the best players in the game. Like Gerrit Cole, he made his MLB debut in 2013. Was an All-Star this past year. He's won 2 Silver Slugger Awards, and was a World Series champion this past year with the Nats. So he takes that with him to Anaheim with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So congratulations to Anthony Rendon. Good for you, and we'll see what happens. So real quick, this is something that MF wanted to get into, and this is something we never really did before, but I'm like, you know what? Let's give it a go quickly. Tomorrow night and Saturday night, it will be the festivities of the NHL All-Star Game, and it will emanate from the home of the reigning, defending, undisputed Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, the Enterprise Center. Tomorrow night, of course, will be the skills competition. Fastest skater, save streak, accuracy shooting, hardest shot events will make their return. And a new event called the Shooting Stars will also make its debut, featuring players shooting pucks from an elevated 30-foot platform behind the goal towards targets on the ice.
Okay. That looks... Now, I actually got to see the layout of it.
Yes,
oh, my God. That's all I'm going to say. Enterprise Center in St. Louis, get ready for a show tomorrow night.
And we'll have that as well. I mean,
yep.
We don't just do the game; we do the skills competition as well. And I'll be honest with you, I look more forward to the skills competition than the game itself. Even though the game the last couple of years has been really fun because of that new tournament format.
I like the new layout on the 3-on-3. I wish they go 4-on-4 though. I don't know. I think to get 4 guys on the ice, 2 forwards, 2 defensemen, and the way that they open it up, I think you got better opportunity to play better. I don't know. I'm not really too keen on the 3-on-3. I don't mind the 5-on-5. I think 5-on-5, get rid of it, but I think 4-on-4 is better. I think 4-on-4, the same rules, the same way, just open it up a little more. And I would say 2 from each team, from each conference gets to play. So 2 from the Rangers, 2 from the Flyers, 2 from the just to even out the line so that you can make fair opportunities.
And also during the skills competition, there's going to be an elite women's 3-on-3.
Yes.
Which will feature American and Canadian women's all-stars. For Team USA, you're going to have Kendall Coyne Schofield, Brianna Decker, Amanda Kessel, the sister of Phil Kessel, Hillary Knight, Jocelyn Lamoureux Davidson, Annie Pankowski, Alexandra Carpenter, along with Casey Bellamy and Lee Steckline, Alex Rigsby Cavallini, and coached by one of the greatest of all time, Cami Granado.
Yes.
That's Team USA. And for Team Canada, you got Megan Acosta, Melody Doust, Rebecca Johnston, Sarah Nurse, Marie Philip Poulin, Natalie Spooner and Blair Turnbull, Renata Faust, Laura Fortino, and Renee Desbienne, the goalie, and their head coach, Jana Hefford. So,
now, the reason why you're wondering why this is happening, this is kind of a nod to the women's game. You know, the great women Olympic matchups that you saw. I think we all remember that incredible game in Torino in Italy. The gold medal match, USA and Canada, and the United States winning the gold medal in one of the most dramatic games you ever see in the Winter Olympics. It was a 5-star classic. 5-star classic, Shakespearean drama. I saw the match live as it happened on that day, and I was like jaw dropped of how incredible that game was. Without a doubt, one of the best women's hockey matches I've ever seen. So for them to have that game, and plus on top of that, to give a little bit of a teaser, because 2 years from now in Beijing, we might see these 2 teams again in the final. So get ready for that.
Absolutely. So that all goes down tomorrow night. Now, as for Saturday, we have the All-Star games. Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers will be the captain of the Pacific Division for the 4th year in a row. Nathan McKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche will captain the Central Division team, 2nd straight year. He was selected but did not play last year. First time ever for David Pastrnak of the Eastern Conference champion Boston Bruins. He will captain the Atlantic Division team, and captaining the Metropolitan Division team for the 3rd consecutive year, Alexander Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. The head coaches, it will be Bruce Cassidy, who will coach the Atlantic Division team. Todd Reardon will coach the Metropolitan team. He's the coach of the Capitals. For the Central Division, of course, it's Craig Berube, the head coach of the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. And it was originally supposed to be Gerard Gallant of the Vegas Golden Knights for the Pacific Division, but Gallant was fired last week because of the underperformance of his team. And one day later, he was replaced by Rick Tocchet, the head coach of the very surprising Arizona Coyotes. And I cannot believe what they're doing right now. I'm rooting for those guys, let me tell you. So for the Atlantic Division team, David Pastrnak, alongside, in no particular order, Tyler Bertuzzi of the Detroit Red Wings, Anthony Duclair of the Ottawa Senators, Jack Eichel of the Buffalo Sabres, Jonathan Huberdeau from another surprising team, the Florida Panthers. I mean, they're really doing well right Mitch Marner, who was voted the last man in, representing the Toronto Maple Leafs. Brady Tkachuk from the Ottawa Senators, replacing Austin Matthews due to injury. Victor Hedman from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Shea Weber of the Montreal Canadiens. Frederik Andersen of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's replacing Tuukka Rask because he wanted to rest. Nothing wrong with that. Representing the Metropolitan Division, Chris Letang is from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He replaces his teammate Jake Guentzel due to injury. Matthew Barzal of the New York Islanders. Nico Hischier of the New Jersey Devils replacing his teammate Kyle Palmieri due to injury. Travis Konechny of the Philadelphia Flyers. Good news, MF. We got a Ranger in there, Chris Kreider.
Kreider is actually going in for Panarin. And Tierney Panarin was supposed to be representing the Rangers, but got injured. So Chris Kreider is representing the Rangers in the game.
Get well soon, Panarin. We need you.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, we're right there. I mean, we still have a little bit of work to do, but at least we're over 500, so that's encouraging.
We're about 10 points out of the final wild card spot, but there is plenty of time, so we're not in full panic mode yet.
Not at all. TJ Oshie, he was voted the last man in. He represents the Washington Capitals. John Carlson of the Washington Capitals is in there as well. Seth Jones of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Jakob Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes. He's replacing Dougie Hamilton due to an injury, his teammate. Braden Holtby from the Washington Capitals. And Tristan Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He replaces Joonas Korpisalo of the Columbus Blue Jackets due to injury. To the Western teams, to the Central Division team, Nathan McKinnon from the Colorado Avalanche, Patrick Kane from the Chicago Blackhawks. From the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, we have Ryan O'Reilly and last man in, David Perron. Mark Scheifele of the Winnipeg Jets, Tyler Seguin from the Dallas Stars, Eric Stahl from the Minnesota Wild, Roman Josi from the Nashville Predators, Alec, and two more Stanley Cup champion Blue players. We have Alex Pietrangelo, the captain, and Jordan Binnington, the goalie. And the other goalie is Connor Hellebuck from the Winnipeg Jets. And for the Pacific Division team, Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers, along with his teammate Leon Draisaitl. Tomas Hertl, San Jose Sharks. He's replacing his teammate Logan Couture. By the way, Logan Couture was the leading goal scorer in last year's playoffs. Anze Kopitar from the Los Angeles Kings. Max Pacioretty for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's replacing Jakob Silfverberg of the Anaheim Ducks, who was excused from the game due to the birth of his child. So congratulations, Jakob Silfverberg.
Hey, congrats, Jakob.
Yes, sir. Elias Peterson of the Vancouver Canucks. Matthew Tkachuk and Mark Giordano from the Calgary Flames. Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks, voted the last man in. Jacob Markstrom of the Vancouver Canucks. He's replacing Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yes.
Marc-Andre Fleury abstained because he wanted to rest. And David Rittich from the Calgary Flames, replacing Darcy Kemper of the Arizona Coyotes due to injury. So the Metropolitan will play the Atlantic in the first game, and then in the second game it'll be the Pacific and the Central, and then those two winners will score off in the final game, and the winner, that divisional team earns $1 million. So Tennille Towns is going to sing the Canadian national anthem, and Holly Connor will sing the Star Spangled Banner, and that's really all there is to say on this. So MF, you heard all the names. So who do you like? Who do you like to come out of the All-Star game there, Doc?
Well, this is always a tough situation because you never know, especially in the first two games, because kind of more or less it's a crapshoot. But if you go by the level of plays, I think the Metro will beat the Atlantic. I got the Central beating the Pacific. That means Central and Metro face in the final. But I think this year, because it's in St. Louis, St. Louis will want to represent really well. So I think the Central Division will win the All-Star game this year and capture the $1 million. I know in the last couple of years, the Metro has won this, but I think this year the Central is going to get it because I truly believe that with some of the guys that they got, like a Nathan, with some of the guys that they got, like a Patrick Kane, I think he's going to represent. But watch out for the Blues, especially Jordan Bennington being at home, being with that crowd, and that crowd's going to be very electric for the Blues because of the high that they're still on since they won the Stanley Cup. I think they're gonna carry them to the day. I got the Central Division winning the All-Star game. So Anthony, quickly, it's yours.
Yeah, third time that St. Louis is hosting the All-Star game. First was in 1970. Eastern Conference won the game 4-1 that year, and the other year was in 1988. Wales Conference over the Campbell Conference, 6-5 in overtime. So that's all there is to say there. This is the 5th year of this format. This format debuted in 2016. Metropolitan has won. The Metropolitan won in 2017 and 2019. The Pacific won in 2016 and 2018. So it's 2-2 for the Pacific and the Met. The Atlantic and the Central have not won it yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I agree for the most part. I mean, the Met. I mean, we've always been very strong in this. Our division has been the best in this, but at the end, MF, you made a very compelling argument. I mean, because of the Blues and because they're still doing very well from their cup from this past year, and who knows, they could win it all again this year. I mean, they're running away with the West right now, so I would not be surprised if the Central Division were to win the All-Star game. So really all there is to say there. The other big event this weekend, of course, is the Pro Bowl. And the Pro Bowl will be going down this Sunday afternoon at 3:00 on ESPN, simulcast on ABC from Camping World Stadium, a.k.a. the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. The NFC will be head coached by Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks, and the AFC will be coached by John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens. And Lamar Jackson is going to lead the AFC team. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, and Ryan Tannehill were the quarterbacks. Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Mark Ingram were the running backs. Patrick Ricard, the fullback. DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Jarvis Landry, Tyreek Hill, Cortland Sutton, DJ Chark were the wide receivers. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Jack Doyle, the tight ends. Ronnie Stanley, Laramie Tunsil, Trent Brown, and Orlando Brown Jr., the tackles. Marshall Yanda, Quentin Nelson, David DeCastro, Joel Bitonio, the guards. Marquise Pouncey, Rodney Hudson, and Ryan Kelly, the centers. And, that's just the offensive teams. And of course, you also have Joey Bosa, Frank Clark, Calais Campbell, Melvin Ingram, and Josh Allen. Defensive ends, Cameron Hayward, Chris Jones, Geno Atkins, Jarrell Casey for the tackles. Von Miller, TJ Watt, Matthew Judon, the linebackers, outside linebackers. Darius Leonard, Dante Hightower, Tremaine Edmonds, the inside linebackers. Stephon Gilmore, Tre'Davious White, Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Joe Hayden, the cornerbacks. Minka Fitzpatrick and Earl Thomas, the free safeties. Jamal Adams, the strong safety. Brett Kern will be the punter. Justin Tucker will be the kicker. Mecole Hardman, Andre Roberts, the return specialist. Matthew Slater, the special teams, and the long snapper, Morgan Cox. And that's it for the AFC. On the NFC, you have for quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara, the running backs. Kyle Juszczyk and C.J. Ham, the fullbacks. Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Kenny Golladay, Devontae Adams, the receivers. George Kittle, Zach Ertz, Jared Cook, Austin Hooper, the tight ends. David Bakhtiari, Tyron Smith, Teron Armstead. Lane Johnson, the tackles, offensive tackles. Zach Martin, Brandon Brooks, Brandon Scherf, Trey Turner, Andres Pete, and Larry Warford, the guards. Jason Kelsey and Travis Frederick, the centers. On offense, for the defense, Cameron Jordan, Nick Bosa, Danielle Hunter, Everson Griffin. Defensive ends, Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox, Grady Jarrett, Kenny Clark, the defensive tackles. Chandler Jones, Khalil Mack, Shaquille Barrett, Za'Darius Smith, the outside linebackers. Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly, Jalen Smith, Eric Kendricks, the inside linebackers. Marshawn Lattimore, Richard Sherman, Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, Kyle Fuller, Shaquille Griffin, Xavier Rhodes, the cornerbacks. Buda Baker, Eddie Jackson, the free safeties. Harrison Smith, the strong safety. Tress Way, the punter. Will Lutz, the kicker. Deontay Harris, return specialist. Cordarrelle Patterson, special teams and long snapper Rick Lovato. And Baltimore led the way with 13 selections, far more than any other team. The next closest was New Orleans with 11. As far as any from our respective teams, sorry, MF, no Dolphins made it. And no Giants made it either. So, but 3 Buffalo Bills and 3 New England Patriots just to round out our teams. So that's all I can say on that. So it's gonna be it's usually a fun game, but then again, there's usually no effort involved. So toss of the coin. I kind of want to see the AFC get it. So
yeah. The thing is with this is that you just hope that no players get seriously hurt. A lot of the times what they'll do is whenever they make a play, they'll stand them up. And then, they're very rare you'll see any type of like hard hitting. The only way somebody's really going for it is somebody wants to be the MVP, especially if there's a defensive player, like especially for defense, you might see a guy try to intercept a quarterback or something like that. That means that guy's going for the MVP. That's the only reason why they're going. But a lot of the times they don't really go wicked hard for it. But that's 9 times out of 10. That's how it normally happens in the Pro Bowl.
And as in previous years, the rules of the game will be different from the regular season, and some new rules being introduced. After a score, there will be no kickoff, as in previous years' Pro Bowls. The scoring team now has 2 options. Give the opposing team the ball at the opposing team's own 25, equivalent to a touchback, or run one play from the scoring team's 25-yard line in lieu of an onside kick. If the scoring team gains at least 15 yards, it will retain possession and it will be first down. Otherwise, the other team takes over at the dead ball spot. In essence, it'll be a 4th and 15 play from a team's own 25. And false start penalties on receivers flexed to the line of scrimmage will be relaxed. A receiver can now flinch or lift a foot off the ground without penalty. So there's that. It'll be on ESPN. Joe Tessitore, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters will have the call. Tori Kelly, the beautiful Tori Kelly, she will be performing the national anthem. So that ought to be something. So the 3-year agreement with Camping World Stadium expired after last year's game. The league explored alternative sites, including hosting the game in Miami the week after the Super Bowl. But back in August, the NFL decided to keep the game in Orlando for 1 additional year. So kudos to them for that. And, it'll be very interesting. 6 Kansas City Chiefs, 4 San Francisco 49ers. They made it. And but obviously with the Chiefs and the 49ers getting ready for the Super Bowl, I don't think we're going to see those 6 Chiefs.
No, they're not. Nope, they will not be allowed to play. Nope, they will not be allowed to play.
Nope. So there you go. So Michael Bullock has just joined us, but before we catch him up, I know we got to get MF out of here. So MF, real quick, I know we're only a few weeks into the new year, but we got our first huge Cerebral Smack Talk show of 2020 tomorrow. Big one.
Oh, absolutely. Tomorrow we got a big show. SmackDown Live, the go-home show for it. And then we're going to be previewing WWE NXT World Collides, the battle between NXT USA and NXT UK. who will get the brand supremacy? Who will have the right to say that they are the better NXT brand? We'll find out. And then, of course, the official preview of the Royal Rumble event from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. We're gonna run it.
Underway.
Yeah, construction's underway, and we'll break it all down for you guys tomorrow night at 10:30 Eastern. Yes, I'm gonna be heading on out. Anthony Bullock, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and have a good night, everybody. So long for now. Bye bye. Anthony, it's yours.
10:30 tomorrow.
See you,
right?
Fletch.
Yes,
10:30,
10:30 tomorrow. Yes.
Okay, just wanted to be sure. All right, MF. Thank you very much. And now, Michael Bullock, come on in. We're gonna get you caught up now on everything. I mean, we were about to end, but we got everything in. First, your thoughts on the sign stealing scandal in Major League Baseball with the Houston Astros and all the penalties and all that good stuff.
Or bad stuff, as we like to say.
Right.
It's a sad day for baseball because I think this is the last thing anybody wanted to see. I mean, if you're gonna want to win, you got to do it the right way. And I know a lot of Yankee fans, including you, Florio, probably feel cheated out of the a chance of going to the World Series in 2017. But and obviously the city council in LA wants the Dodgers. They want Major League Baseball to strip them of their title, but Rob Manfred came out, I think it was yesterday, said, you know what, we're not going to do that. And you know what, Florio? I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I think Manfred made the right call, because here's the thing. You would be opening up Pandora's box. And because the next thing you know, you would have people basically saying, oh, check this team out to see if they're stealing, and then take their title away. And then you'd be starting a trend that Major League Baseball, I'm sure, they don't want to see happen. I mean, it's bad enough for the game to be cheating and all that, but to take away a team's world championship, I think would make matters worse. And look, I think baseball came down hard on them, especially the owner and not the owner, the GM and the manager. But the owner of the team, basically, he didn't waste any time. He said, you know what? I know Major League Baseball suspended them for a year, but you know what? I'm going to cut the cord on them right away. And he said bye-bye to Jeff Luhnow and AJ Hinch. So it's a sad day, but to me, I think Major League Baseball got this one right.
All right. And in the announcement of the 2020 Major League Baseball or Baseball Hall of Fame inductees, Derek Jeter, Larry Walker, along with Ted Simmons and Marvin Miller. Of course, your old friend, Mr. Nick Cafardo, getting the Writer Award, and Ken Harrelson with the Frick Award. But your thoughts on Jeter, Walker, Simmons, and Miller all going into the Hall?
Well, I don't know that much about Simmons and Miller, but as far as Derek Jeter and Larry Walker, Derek Jeter obviously was no surprise that he was going to get in his first year. I mean, look at of eligibility. I mean, come on, Florio. You know a lot about this guy. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. A lot of good things come up when you mention Derek Jeter. And I'm sure there are a lot of things that come to your good memory, Florio. I mean, what he did in that American League Division Series in 2001 against the Oakland A's, that flip to home plate. I mean, that was one of the craziest plays I've ever seen in the postseason.
He doesn't make that play. He doesn't make that play. Oakland wins that series hands down.
Yeah, I agree. And also in that postseason that year, who could ever forget when the clock struck midnight and it was November 1st? He hit that walk-off home run against the Arizona Diamondbacks to win. What was it? Game 3?
That flip play, yeah, that was game 3.
No. I'm talking about the home run from Game 3 of that World Series.
Oh, the Mr. November.
Yeah.
That was game 4.
Oh, that was Game 4. I thought it was game. Yeah, it was Game 4. So, yeah, I mean that's another memorable play. But there's one that stands out to me, obviously, as a Red Sox fan. I think it was in the summer of 2004 that.
Oh yeah.
When he catch and dived right into the stands. I mean, that's an example of what Derek Jeter is. I mean, he plays hard every single day, and of course, another big moment was that he was only the second player ever to get his 3,000th hit via a home run. Of course, we all know the other one was Wade Boggs. So, but man, I mean, I know I'm a Red Sox fan and I'm supposed to be a Yankee hater, but the thing is, there were some guys on the Yankees that I did respect. Your manager, Joe Torre, and the man that just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, Derek Jeter. I mean, he's an example of how people should play the game of baseball.
The right way.
The right way. That's how he did it. He did it the right way. And I love in his final season when what better way to have his final hit of his in Yankee Stadium on that night was against the Baltimore Orioles.
Yes.
Yeah, that walk-off hit. I mean, and then of course the Red Sox with their own ceremony honoring Derek Jeter, and of course. The one moment I remember from that ceremony was, and how ironic I think of this guy, Pete Frates, the late Pete Frates, when obviously Derek Jeter did that ice bucket challenge, and then of course Pete Frates made an appearance on that final game of the year at Fenway Park, and yeah, and as soon as they took him out of that game. Even the people at Fenway gave him a big standing ovation. So, yeah, there were even some Red Sox fans who respected Derek Jeter. And that's what was all about him. It was all about that respect. And he certainly earned it. And, yeah. And then when it comes to Larry Walker, good for him. I mean, final year of eligibility. I mean, he led the league and he's led the league in a few years in batting. So, yeah, congratulations to Derek Jeter, Larry Walker, and all the other candidates going in, especially with Nick Cafardo and Hawk Harrelson. And I know people are going to have some gripe about that one voter who didn't vote for Derek Jeter, and everybody is flipping about it. But here's the thing, and Florio, you can back me up on this.
Yes.
Did we want to see Derek Jeter as getting in unanimously? Absolutely.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. As long as he gets in, that's the only thing that matters. And I'm pretty sure that's what Derek Jeter would say too. So to all the people who are whining and complaining about it,
I'm not.
Just shut up and just let's all be, as Daniel Bryan would say, let's all be grateful that Derek Jeter got into the Hall of Fame.
And deal with it.
Exactly.
So I know I am. So
hey,
right.
It's not just Yankee fans, and you are. I think everybody in baseball is grateful for this special player, and there will never, ever be another Derek Jeter, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
Congratulations to Derek Jeter and Larry Walker. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys get inducted into the Hall of Fame in July. And yeah, there's really nothing more to say.
July 26th at 1:30. That ceremony I know will be broadcast by MLB Network, like they always do. So,
yes, it will.
certainly looking forward to that. All right. How about the big contracts for Garrett Cole and Anthony Rendon?
Well, Garrett Cole. I mean, what can you say? I mean, he got his huge payday. I mean, look at what he's done with the Astros, and obviously when he started with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the thing is, the Yankees need another big name starter, and now they got one in Garrett Cole. And who knows, Florio? I think this could be the piece that could get the Yankees to the World Series. I mean, only time will tell. But you take a look at that team that they have right now, and then you add Garrett Cole. Man, oh man. I hate to be anybody in the American League, especially in our division. So, and you know what? I'm going to go on the record right now, Florio, and I know I'm a Red Sox fan, but I think the Yankees are winning that division.
I agree.
Hands down. And you know what? I'll even take it a step further. I think they're going to win the World Series.
Again, I say I agree.
Yeah. And then as far as Anthony Rendon, I mean, yeah, you add that bat to with Mike Trout. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch in that lineup for the Angels.
Don't forget Albert Pujols either.
Huh?
Don't forget Albert Pujols either.
Oh yeah, so that's a pretty good combo right there. So, but here's the thing. I mean, as good as that lineup looks, I still think they need a lot of work, especially on the pitching.
Yes, they do.
They really need some pitching to really, if they can get that one or two good starters, who knows, maybe it could develop during spring training. If that can happen, then maybe we're talking something. But for right now, they're still a work in progress. So, yeah. But I'll tell you, Anthony Rendon certainly got his hefty payday, especially for what he did with the Washington Nationals, leading them to their first ever World Series title in the franchise history. Because we all remember they used to be known as the Expos.
Yes.
And of course now it's them being the Nationals. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, we both saw Florida. I mean, nobody gave this Nationals team a chance against the Astros.
Nope.
And then of course they did the improbable, winning it in 7 games. And I'm telling you, Washington I'm sure they're still celebrating right now, but come spring training, they're going to have a huge task at hand in defending that title, and they're going to have to do it without Anthony Rendon. So, yeah, so that's really all I can say. So let's move right along, Florio.
Who do you like in the NHL All-Star game? Which division?
Man, now which divisions are
Atlantic, Metropolitan, Central, Pacific.
Man, so I'm gonna say, that's a tough one. Who did you say, Florio?
We both said the Central Division.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Central Division too. I think that the Central looks like a more better division when it comes to it. So so that's just how I feel on it.
And who do you like in the Pro Bowl? AFC, NFC?
Yeah, well, looking at the rosters on both sides, I gotta go with the AFC. Because look at some of the names you got on there. I mean, probably one of the best corners in the NFL, and Stephon Gilmore, and so I just think that AFC side looks more stacked. I mean, nothing against the NFC, but I just think the AFC looks like a more talented team. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, and of course the only representatives that we don't see from the AFC and NFC are, of course, from the Chiefs and the 49ers, because let's just say they got something bigger and better to do.
Oh, yes.
And that's playing in Super Bowl 54, which we will get into next week.
And it will be a special Friday night edition because MF invoked his EP authority, saying that he wants to do the show next Friday night. So in place of Cerebral Smack Talk. So
no Cerebral Smack Talk next week.
That's correct. And we will not have a show next Thursday either. So
yeah, because Friday will be all about the Super Bowl.
Yep. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching, prediction.
Everything.
And maybe a tail of the tape. So we'll see.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, I got the AFC winning on Sunday.
Yes. The AFC will be without 6 Kansas City Chiefs, and the NFC will be without 4 San Francisco 49ers in the Pro Bowl. And you 3 New England Patriots made it, Bullock, whereas 3 Buffalo Bills made it. Unfortunately for MF, 0 Miami Dolphins. So
yeah, and I think you could tell because it was a rebuilding year, you didn't expect to see any Pro Bowlers coming out of there.
And there were also 0 New York Giants as well. So
yeah,
but every other team had at least 1. But your Patriots had 3, my Bills had 3, so we were even. So if there's nothing else to talk about, I say let's just put a bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. The season premiere of Strictly Sports. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
And that is what we're going to do. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you tomorrow night at 10:30. We'll back over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. Huge Cerebral Smack Talk. We're not only going to review Friday Night SmackDown, but we're also going to preview the NXT Worlds Collide, and we will also preview the Royal Rumble. You don't want to miss that. And then Sunday night, immediately following the Royal Rumble event, we will have the recap over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95 once again. And then Monday night, we got Ridiculously Raw with me back here on the Tone 25. And we are going to run down Monday Night Raw, all the fallout from the Royal Rumble, my Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. And then from there, Wednesday Night Mayhem, AEW, Dynamite, and NXT as always. And then no show next Thursday. But next Friday, it will not be Cerebral Smack Talk. It will be our preview of Super Bowl 54, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, and who we ultimately think will raise the Lombardi Trophy in Miami. So that's the content. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Didi Woodson, and always and forever Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. My dear friends, God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the season premiere of Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.